All right, we are live with the Health, Love, and Life Show, and this is Coach Arnie. And we are going to have a great show planned for you guys tonight with a special friend. And but before that, don't forget to follow me on all the different social media platforms, TikTok, Twitter, Real Coach Arnie. You can email me, Facebook, LinkedIn, Arnie Fonseca Jr. Call me anytime, text me. I was just telling somebody on a show earlier that anytime they want to, they can send me a phone call, a text or phone call, and I have a rule. I get back to you within a day or something really bad has happened. So please feel free to do that. But tonight we have a friend and a guy. His name is Jon Chandonnet. Did I get it right, John?
You got it. You nailed it, Arnie.
Oh, I don't know. You're going to fix it.
Yeah, okay.
My brain was going too fast. And but I met John about a year ago, and I'll let him share what he wants to. But because of my neuro background, I understood what he had been going through in his life. And I remember exactly where I was when I was talking to him. I was getting ready to have lunch with somebody, and I literally sat in my car talking to this guy going, dang, I mean, what a story, right? And that was just the beginning probably of the story. And so just recently in the last few weeks, I reconnected with him, and the story has gotten bigger and better. And he's going to share that with us tonight, along with what he's actually doing with that story, because we all have a story. We all have a story. I have a story, and it's funny, and I'll steal some of John's thunder here, but whenever I'm in a discussion with somebody, and it started a couple of years ago when I would go to a group and meet with people, I'd say, my son who has a brain injury and da-da-da-da-da, and I would just say it as just part of conversation. And somebody would always go, oh my God, I can't believe that. Really? I go, don't worry about it. It's just part of my story. Because I didn't use it as a crutch. I used it as, this is who I am. And because we all deal with stuff, whether it's divorce, death, bankruptcies. I've almost been through every one of those, but but we deal with stuff. And what I want you to hear from this man today, John's going to share you how we can bounce and not splatter. And so, John, why don't you, first of all, welcome, my friend. And I want you to take a few minutes here and just share with people who you are, what your story is, and what you're doing. And then we'll get into a conversation about all that.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Great. So my name is Jon Chandonnet, and I wrote a book. I wrote a memoir about being diagnosed with MS 23 years ago. I was a grad student at MIT, had the world by the tail. I was at the top, ready to explode into life. Doctor said, yeah, you've got MS. And you know what I did? I shoved it in a box. I left it in the tarmac at Boston Logan Airport, blasted off to life, got a great job with the startup, and was living the life of my dream, building enterprise applications, climbing Whitney, Shasta, Tyndall, running marathons, triathlons, and just doing everything I could to suck everything I could out of life, because I didn't know when the disease would say stop. And so I was going to run as hard as I could, as long as I could, until I couldn't anymore. And so 8 years after the diagnosis, it brought me to my knees, and I could barely walk, talk, think, or speak. I was shuffling my feet like a 90-year-old man, and I was falling downstairs and lost connection between my brain and my mouth. I searched for words, but then I couldn't speak them, and I was just in trouble. And that was 15 years ago. And I I was at an inflection point, and I was like, either I become a ward of the comfort care culture in America. When someone has a debilitating disease, no one's better than America at taking care of them. It's amazing. It is amazing what we do to look after and take care of people that are in those situations. But I was only 35, and I was like, life is too short. I've got to get this back. I've got to turn the tide on this thing. And so I went inside. I did a raw vegan detox and a place in San Diego, and basically turned the trajectory on things from a downward spiral. I got it to go back up again. And I found out just what are the keys to living my best life despite this disease that wants to stop me dead in my tracks. And it did. But I went inside. I had the support system and the individual fortitude and faith in myself and the universe, I guess, that I could find a different way. And I did a detox for 4 months and came out of that feeling like a 16-year-old kid again. And I learned 4 key important elements of life, which are the mind, body, spirit, and emotions, and how to use those to power my best life. And I learned that at OHI. And then over the next 3 years, I learned, well, actually 8 years, I learned 8 more key elements, or not 8 more, 3 more key elements, which are profession. So being fueled from within rather than fueled with obligation, along with the hand on the back, telling you have to do something. No, how do you fuel it from within? Learning about finances and how to serve people authentically in a financial vibrant, which is love and service. And then social, which is all about serving people in communication and connecting with them and really understanding how to assist other people to be their best selves. So that's a short kind of synopsis, Arnie, of my 7 vibrants, which are, my story is about overcoming. My story is about how do you overcome something that stops you dead in your tracks? Because I was dead in my tracks.
And just to bring everybody up to speed, I've been involved in neuro rehabilitation for about 35 years. And actually, I don't know if I shared this with you a year or so ago, but I actually used to speak at a MS support group. And so I understand quite a bit about it. And so my question to you is, when 15 years ago or 23 years ago?
15 years ago.
You were diagnosed?
No, I was diagnosed 23 years ago.
23 years ago.
Yeah.
Because most people don't understand that MS. My daughter, we thought she might have been a few years ago, maybe 10 years ago now. So she would have been in her early 30s, which is very common with women to be diagnosed with MS in their early, and then it's almost like lies dormant for many years, and all of a sudden, bam. So because of the myelin deterioration, but when you obviously were this young guy, you left. There was a gap there in my brain. I'm thinking, okay, what did you do? Because how old were you when you were diagnosed? What, 18, 19, 20?
No, 27. I was 27 when diagnosed.
Oh, crap.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I didn't realize that you were younger.
Yeah, no.
You don't look that old, John.
Yeah, right.
You're well maintained. Very nice.
Yeah,
okay,
right.
So you're 27, and now that actually adds a little difference. So what did you do? Did you say, nah, it ain't happening because I don't feel that bad, but you went to the doctor to get diagnosed because you had some symptom?
No, I not only went to the doctor because I had some symptoms, I had a brain MRI. So I had, at 27, I had the best medical care. I'm at MIT, and
Sure.
they put me in the MRI machine, and it showed lesions on my
Sure.
brain where the myelin deteriorated. And so and I had optic neuritis the year before when I was 26.
Define.
And optic neuritis is the unraveling of the optic nerve. And so it was like I was looking through cracked glass. And when I was in the midst of a statistics final, and that came back. They put me on steroids, and that came back. But optic neuritis is a key precursor, a big percentage of people who are eventually diagnosed with MS. Yeah.
Okay, so now you're 27, because I look at when I was 27, that was like, man, I was like, man, you're like,
come on,
let's go, baby.
Right. Bring it on.
There's nothing impossible, right?
I'm invincible.
You are. So,
no sense of mortality.
You're an MIT guy, the internet was just getting going. And did you
had a front row seat?
Yeah, front row. Did you? Exactly. I mean, I was just reading some stuff about MIT. Did you start doing some massive homework on this?
I did. I did massive homework, and there was one drug on the market called beta-seron, and what I found was the medical community didn't know what caused it.
No.
And they didn't have a cure.
No.
And ultimately, those are the two questions you want to know: is what causes it, so that I can not do that stuff, and what cures it, because I want to live as good a life as I can.
Yeah.
And they didn't know. They still don't know.
They don't, but there's a lot of other ways we can treat it now, naturally.
No, exactly. Like, and that's what I learned at OHI. I learned that you manufacture health in your gut. That's what I've learned.
Removing inflammation from the body.
Exactly.
Stress.
Right. And actually, I was a grad student at MIT. I did some research, and I went to a health food store one night after a day of homework, and I wanted something more nutritious than pizza. And I did research on detoxing. So detoxing the colon as a way back to health, and on enzyme nutrition.
Oh.
And enzyme nutrition.
That was early on. Enzymes were getting going right there.
That was 97. And
my God.
And those two things were the essence of what I experienced at OHI 8 years later.
Okay. OHI.
Optimum Health Institute.
What is that?
It's a health center in Lemon Grove, California, that people go to basically detox,
like a spa kind of thing,
like a detox spa. Yeah, a lot of massage. They do
a lot of places like that in Southern California.
Yeah, right. No, right, but it's all about mind, body, spirit unification. The institute is, and so.
Did you have to? Forgive me for interrupting. Did you have to? Because not everybody can do that. Because some of my research on nutrition is that not everybody does incredibly well on vegetables and fruits, and some people do better on the keto thing, and some people do better on this. And so, did you have to find certain? Because you had to find the right foods for Jon.
Yep, I did. I mean, I read about it in my book, but there was a juice that the Institute would serve, and I actually researched a raw juice that was good for me, for MS, for my nervous system. And it's no sugar at all. I mean, no sugar, natural sugar even. So not fruits.
No.
I mean, Yeah, there's some sugar in vegetables, of course,
Minimal.
but it's minimal. But I was 100% raw vegan and juiced 3 days, 3.5 days a week, and then ate raw food for the other 3.5, and augmented with my own juicing protocol. And would eat.
How long do you do that for, John?
I did it for 4 months.
See, I've found whenever I work with anybody, and this is why I'm intrigued, and I love the fact, I mean, here you are, and I'm not sure because we've never really talked in depth about how you're going to market your book or who to, but I know this, that anybody, regardless of whether they have MS or anything else, anybody that gets off the standard American diet, whether they go raw vegan or raw carnivore, they're going to feel better. Get off that processed food, get off the sugar, you're going to feel better. Go ahead.
Go ahead. I'm gluten-free now. I'm very low sugar. I'm casein-free, which is the dairy.
Sure.
And so, yes, I tailored my diet to what I live with.
Sure. Because I know I was talking to my son. I was in Albuquerque last week, and I was talking to my son-in-law. And we were just discussing because he's a vegetarian, and I'm meat based, so I would be opposite of you. But I've been raw vegan. I went raw vegan because I've done just about everything, and I do it for about 6 months to see how my body responds to it. Because I want to know. I've done the gluten-free thing. I've done, back, 40 years ago, did the high fat, low fat, you name it, fat, did Atkins, did it all. So I've even done carnivore, full carnivore. I've never done the raw carnivore, but that's a little crazy. But what we were discussing with my son-in-law, he was asking me questions. I said, certain foods, like I was using nuts and stuff. I go, for my blood type, because I've studied a lot of Diadamo.
Yep.
And I was lucky at where I had my clinic. I was right next door to a couple of one doctor and one other person who should have been a doctor, but they had developed their own enzyme product back in the mid 2000s. And I used to go in there and they would give classes on enzymes and stuff. And I had the book. I gave it to my oldest daughter. I'm going to kill her because it was a classic book written in 1928. I can't remember the guy's name on enzymes and stuff. It was a classic book. You'd probably know it if I said it. But I learned about soaking nuts and all the different things to release the
enzyme inhibitors.
What is it again?
The enzyme inhibitors.
Enzyme inhibitors from nuts. Because I would tell them, I go, one day I was at my clinic, and I go, I used to live on peanut butter, raw peanut butter, and I was getting just horrific gas. And I'm going, why can't I eat peanut butter? I love peanut butter. And so when I was learning from my instructors, like, Arnie, well, you're not supposed to eat that. And when we're younger, we can get away with it, right? Because we have the ability to digest these things in our bodies. And as we age, we start to lose and I've listened to enough seminars, we lose because we only have so many, is it enzymes in our body, John, over our lifetime?
Yes.
Is that right?
Yeah, it is.
And they just dissipate over time, right?
Right.
Which
so you want
supplements.
So the whole theory of raw food is the food comes with the enzymes, and so the food helps to metabolize itself, which frees the metabolic load from the body. That's the whole that's the theory for why raw food.
And this will freak you out. I've spoken at raw food dinners probably a half dozen times. A friend of mine goes, and I know, go figure. So I would go there, and I didn't really eat anything, but no, they would have. I mean, this is because in Phoenix, in Arizona, it was started by like a couple of teenagers who had some really bad food allergies, and they literally created cookbooks of raw food, soaked nuts, and turkeys and all kind of stuff that you'd think, wow, that's Mexican food and made from sprouted foods and nuts and everything else, right? Yep. And they healed themselves, John, just like you're doing. They healed themselves. I mean, are you kidding me? But they were willing, like you are. I guarantee you, either you had that determination already because of somebody that had the ability to go to MIT, or you learned it along the journey here. But you at some point had to ask yourself, what am I willing to do to get to normal?
Right. And because I was so far from normal, and because I was 35 and I saw the trajectory of where my life was going, I was going down fast. The drain, the plug had been taken off the drain, and I was free falling. Okay. And
Hold that thought. You were free falling. We're going to take about a 20-second break here. Hold that thought. All right. So you were free fall. You were circling the drain, Jon.
I was circling the drain, free falling, and desperate because I was just married and I wanted to have a child. And
so you just got married at 35, 34?
30. I was married at 34, and
okay.
and we wanted to have a child. And
but she knew you had MS.
Yeah, she did. I told her on our first date. It's part of the book. It's actually an amazing chapter in the book. Our whole, it's a love story. The book is a part of it is a big love story. I mean, and my wife is, she's the hero of the whole story. If that's a whole other story.
Sure. That's a better story for Cece's show.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. So I was circling the drain and so desperate. I was desperate to turn this thing around, and conventional medicine will make you comfortable, in essence. And that's where it was back then. That was 23 years ago. Medicine's come amazing strides in 23 years around this disease. I mean, I was just at my neurologist, and there's like 14 drug therapies, and there's a whole bunch of drugs that just improve symptoms and so forth. So what has been done to improve lifestyle for people living with this disease is pretty amazing.
Have you read anything? Because it's racking my brain right now ever since, and I didn't have time this afternoon because I was going to look it up. I thought I had heard a podcast about somebody that they are showing somehow naturally to regenerate myelin. Have you done any research on that?
So the big thing is stem cells in myelin. Right. And so it's that is so the question is, there's two aspects. How do you stop the disease? That's the one important aspect. The second is, okay, once the damage has been done, can you repair that? And so, a lot of the drug therapies are to slow the disease down, but it's nirvana is, how do you repair the myelin once it's been damaged? And stem cells, there's a lot of hope in that area. And to regenerate stem cells.
That takes money right now. The thing that I don't, not to get political here, but we tend to wait until we either have a big enough group that makes a lot of noise to investigate a drug, because the FDA and all these things, versus, look, my name's Jon. I've got MS. I'm willing to sign any document. I want to try this. Okay. I've read the research. I've talked to enough smart people to know that risk is minimal and upside is pretty big. But we haven't gone through 40 years of trials yet, which is normally what it takes. And so I don't got 40 years.
Right.
So let's go.
Right. And there has to be a clinically tried and proven protocol that works again and again and again and again for the drug to be approved.
And that's why we're never going to, because I've talked to Dale Bregnitzson and some of these people, Amy Berger with Alzheimer's, because that's my area. And we're never going to get to that drug because of big pharma has such big hooks into the community that we already know what works. Everything you just said works. I was just looking at my workshop that I did on for my brain workshop. It's funny, I had a pad of paper here, and I talked about exercise, diet, nutrition, lifestyle, and prayer and meditation. Hello, but they've done that. Dr. Bregenson's done it. Amy Berger's done. All these other people have done it with groups of people without FDA approval and all this other nonsense. And people have gotten better, and they go, "Oh, okay." But it's not the drug company selling you this drug that took them $5 billion of R&D so they could sell you, something for $1,000 a dose.
Right.
But people are getting better by, like you said, juicing, eating vegetables, eating less processed food, reducing stress, maybe getting some gentle exercise, whatever, right? I think you said 4 steps. And guess what? That works for somebody that has mental problems.
Right.
I don't need a drug for that. That is the drug. And if we just promote it, but again, last time I did a raw foods lecture, I was talking about my hopeful principle, which I've done here. And I said, now I'm going to tell you guys 7 things tonight that can change your life. The worst thing about it is I can't make any money on it because it's all free.
You can't patent. You cannot patent. You can't patent
healthy eating.
You can't patent common sense, Barney.
Or patent exercise. I'll put a patent on faith. How's that?
Yeah. No. Right.
So these are all things that are free. But if somebody says, I got this drug here for $1,000 a dose, give me that. That's got to be it. Not really. I know. So that's kind of, okay, so here we are. Here's this bright guy, young man, got the world at his tail. He's going at it physically. And then he meets this amazing lady, 7 years later. And he wants to have a child because maybe somewhere in the back of his head, he's thinking, I might not have that much time. And his wife to be maybe knows this. But I've learned a lot about women and guys with neurological. There's a lot of things there, psychological, goes on in their head, which is that's another show as well. But it doesn't matter to you because at this point you're kind of happy, right?
Yeah. You're thinking, man, this could have really gone off the wheels could have come off this thing fast. And I've got myself a great lady. We're talking about having a family, and I'm getting myself healthy. Right.
This is pretty good.
Right. No, it was a dramatic shift, a very dramatic shift. I mean, if I hadn't experienced it myself, I wouldn't believe it. I mean, it just seems a little too fantastical to be real. But it's amazing. It's amazing what you can put your mind to. And that's what it took, ultimately. It took a diligence because it took an everyday. I mean, MS was my alcoholism. It was. I mean, I had to watch everything going into my body, going into my mouth, going into my nose, everything that I took into my brain, in my thinking, it all impacts.
Were there certain things that triggered you, John?
That triggered the MS attacks?
Symptoms.
Yes. Oh yeah. I mean, there were emotional episodes, like I was in the midst of my first semester's statistics final, and that's when I had the optic neuritis.
Right.
I was driving myself. I was putting so much pressure on myself. I wasn't sleeping, you know. I ate pretty well. I had, I wasn't drinking much, and I did eat pretty well, but it was still, a lot of cheese and a lot of gluten, um, things that weren't the most beneficial for my body, but they were convenient.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I mean, it's tough when you're at that stage of your life. You got to get that thing done. And,
Right.
You're operating with, well, let's just say it, a disability, right?
Right.
And you knew it, but you weren't allowed, but you weren't going to play the disability card.
No,
No.
I didn't.
I just got off the phone with a client. He called me and was late. He's back east, and he's had a great day. He's got CP, because I used to do a lot of work with CP.
Yeah.
And he was one of my I've known him since he was, either 14, let's say. He's 29 now. And great day. Some neat things have happened. I'm trying to help him get another job because he's back in Tennessee. But I'd call him just to kind of see what's going on. And then he called me back when I was on another call. And right before this call, he called me. He goes, "You didn't call me back." I said, "Oh, well, I got hung up." He goes, I go, "What's up?" He goes, "Talk to my mom." I said, "I know. You talked to your mom and dad. You told them how great a day you had." He was excited. And then he goes, "Patrick called me." And I said, "Patrick's his little brother." And I said, "So, okay, what's going on?" Well, Patrick is real good about taking his positive day and turning it into a negative. Basically saying, "Well, this could happen." I'm thinking, stop. When are you going to learn that you can love your family, but you don't have to listen to them?
Right.
He never calls you up and says, his name is CJ. "Hey, CJ." He wanted me to mention him anyways. "Hey, CJ, what's going on?" "Oh, wow. That is awesome news, man. I'm so proud of you." And then shut up. Because sometimes that's what we need to do, right, John?
Right. I learned a lot about listening.
Yeah. Sometimes it's okay but see, a lot of people and men are bad about this because we want to make life about us. It would be real easy for you to walk into a room, John, and make life about you, wouldn't it?
Oh my gosh.
Day about my day. I had this going on, and man, I don't know. And everybody's going to say, because then you have this situation. John walks into a room and people go, "Oh man, here comes that dude with MS." Right? Instead of, "Oh man, here's John. I love John. He's always encouraging us." And
This guy's got so much energy. God.
Yeah, I love this guy, man. Wow. There's something about him. His vibe is right. So who do you want to be?
Right.
Get it?
Right.
And that's our choice, isn't it, John?
And Arnie, it's actually every moment you have a choice. Every moment is a binary choice. It can either go up positive or down negative around thinking, eating, emotions. Socially, what you say can be positive or negative. You could spend things on money you want or not, because if it's going to be conspicuous. It is choices in the moment that really build who we are. That's like, so at OHI, I became very self-aware and conscious of every choice in every moment because my life slowed down so much. And I started to make choices in support of the me that I wanted to be.
I love what you said right there. Life slowed down. That's so key to this, isn't it? It's like a baseball player when they're in that zone and the ball looks like it's a beach ball. And when we can learn, and it's one of the hardest things to learn is to slow life down so that life looks like a beach ball that we can just hit. Because most of the time it's moving so fast, huh, John?
Yes. And you know what? And that's that's the brilliance is how could you do that in your own life? Because, it's like we invite stress into our life. And so we think stress is a natural way that life has to be all the time. And you know what? It's a choice.
It is. It reminds me of the conversation I had prior to the young man in Tennessee was with my wife and my grandson. I was telling you guys earlier, who's as old as your son, I believe. But bad day, and all I did, I made a conscious choice to listen. I didn't offer any strategies. Well, I would have said this, right? Why didn't you? I just listened, and I know my wife was waiting. I just listened, because normally she'll say, "You need to do something," and I'll, that's what her normal thing would. So tonight it was just I just listened, because there was nothing I could do anyways, and the best thing for her to do was to get it off her chest, so that she could feel safe that I wasn't going to try to correct the situation. And I think I have found that to be a way to slow life down as well. Because as men, we always want to fix stuff, don't we, Jon?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. But you, by listening like that, she either talked herself into or out of what she wanted. So you didn't have to say anything. And she
did. You nailed it, man. She did. She goes, well, I'm going to talk, because the conversation started with, I'm coming home tomorrow. And I'm thinking, oh boy, because I haven't done, it's not ready for her to come home yet. I'm doing the bachelor thing here for a week or so. Yeah. So I have to do and tomorrow's not a good day. So, no, it would be fine. But she said at the end of the conversation, my daughter called, talked to her, and she goes, well, I'm going to decide tomorrow what I'm going to do. I said, you do what you need to do. Not a big deal. I love you, and it's okay. There was no, well, I wouldn't put up with that. There was, well, you need to come home or whatever, But you're exactly right. She made the decision, and she will make the decision. Not me. But you had to learn that for yourself too, because somebody, and maybe people did when they found out, whoever you shared with, well, Jon, are you doing this, this, and this, and that? Because everybody wants to say, you need to be taking this, Jon, or you need to be doing this protocol. And you probably heard that 1,000 times until you finally said, no, I'm going to learn it. I'm going to learn this, right?
Yep.
And that's what OHI, right?
Yeah, OHI. That's what they did.
Why don't you take a few minutes here, Jon, and share with us a little bit about your program, what you're starting to build here.
Yeah, so I'm building Vibrant You Academy, which is all about assisting people to tune in and turn on their best life. There are 7 key aspects of self. We talked about, physical, emotional, professional, financial, social, mental, and spiritual. And there are 7 distinct energies at each of those. There's an energy at each. So emotions, our feelings, are the energy of the emotional vibrant. And so are the emotions serving you or not? And physically, are you, working with prana? Are you really charged? Are you doing what needs to be done to take care of your body or not? And financially, are you in love and service authentically and serving people what they want? Are you trying to manipulate or not? Are your thoughts are the energy of the mental vibrant? Are they serving you or not? And so all those 7 energies either fuel your life naturally and take you where you want to go, or they don't. And I just help people to tune in and turn on those 7 energies to build the life they want in an intentional and conscious way.
Yeah, I love that because, it's like I've taught a lesson before. It's life's 6 teachers. It's almost like you've created 7 life's teachers right there.
Right.
Each one of those is a teacher.
100%.
Yeah, it's like I have this. I'm looking at this chart in front of me. I have of all the emotions. You know, we're either feeding anger, fear, pain, or joy, passion, and love. Right.
Right. And
so, which one do you feel like feeding today?
And is intentional. Like, you do feed that based on what you choose. It's not like your feelings don't have a life of their own. You give life and energy to your feelings depending on what you attach and hold on to.
Well, just like you with food. Let's take food for a second. You know, because of your condition, that if you eat wrong foods, you're going to feel it. You won't feel. But I talk to people all the time. They go, I wish I wouldn't have ate that. Well, they know that it was going to do that to them, but they ate it anyways. So they made a conscious choice, and now they feel angry with themselves. They feel pain because their gut hurts.
Yeah.
And then they beat themselves up for the next, day.
Right. So I support.
They made a bad choice.
Right. So I support people to make all the right decisions for themselves, because people know, we know, and we are intelligent enough to know what is best for us. The question is, do we habitually make the right choice or not? And
no.
Right?
Which is why we need Vibrant You Academy.
Yeah.
It's true. And it's more, it almost sounds like you're providing accountability. You're your awareness.
Yep.
And focus.
Yep.
I mean, because I have found, and we can go in depth in those, and I'm sure you would do that in your program, but I have found in my own life, those are things that I'm always seeking. Awareness, because like I can work on John's problems all day.
Right.
Piece of cake. Not emotional.
Right.
All right. I have to make you aware of them because we bury them.
Right.
And run away from them.
And what we really want is we want ease, and we want the absence of struggle. So
sure.
How can we free ourselves from self-imposed struggle? Because we can. I mean, struggle is self-imposed through the choices we make. So how can we free that? And how can we shine the lens on ourselves to understand what we're doing and the rat trap that we built for our life? And can you do it, on a weekly or monthly basis, as opposed to a yearly or decade-wise, or at the end of a lifetime where you look back and like, oh my God, what did I do? How can we become more conscious and diligent in the moment?
I love it. It's almost a difference between what I used to teach is a level 3 experience. It feels really good. That chocolate cake, John, was so good. And then it was like not good for me. It certainly wasn't good for others because I was complaining about it. And it didn't serve the greater good because I laid with a gut ache all night, right?
Right. And
versus a level 2 experience is, this is hard. I don't really like it, but it's good for me. Like going to the gym, right? When I don't feel like it. And go to the gym because it's good for me. It's good for others because I'm proud of myself after I've worked out. I got it in. And it serves a greater good because I'm healthy and I'm less of a burden on my family, and I'm able to do things physically, and right?
Yep.
So so I think the key then, and I think Vibrant You probably teaches it, is being able to turn that thing in your life that feels bad, but is good for you. Right?
Right.
Into stuff that feels good.
Right. So that everything's aligned.
Yeah, there you go. I love it. Alignment.
Where it's good for you and you actually enjoy it. Because
there you go. That's the key.
Things that things like raw food, people are like, oh my God, that doesn't sound like it tastes very good.
Yeah.
You know? And you know what? The first, second, or third week that you do just raw, it takes a while for your palate to adjust.
Sure.
But after your palate's adjusted, you start to crave the stuff because the way, as you say, it's the way it makes you feel. So you have to kind of go through that progression, and talk yourself off the ledge and give away those addictions, sugar, flour, the goo and glue, that you're just so used to. That's really they're addictions that don't really, food addictions that don't serve your physical well-being.
And that's where the Vibrant You Academy would kick in and help people feel, get that accountability, get them focused on the prize. Where are we going with this? And
right.
Because it's a result, right?
Right. It's because part of it,
it's love. It's all the things that we crave that we really want. We want love. We want fulfillment. We want energy.
We want purpose. Yeah.
Purpose.
Yeah.
So you help people with purpose as well.
Yeah, because that's the professional Vibrant at the solar plexus is all about purpose. So when I pull, you can't see me, I'm pulling from my solar plexus out. How does something pull you? How does desire pull you toward what you want? Which is what my book took me to write. It took me 8 years to write, and then I rewrote it and actually recorded it as an audiobook. And so that's a passion project that was pulled out of me. If I had the hand of obligation pushing me on my back for 15 years, I would have burned out in year one. So how do you get the energy of desire to pull you rather than the energy of obligation on your back? That's a really hard, heavy energy. How do you get that to switch?
I love it. Hey, Jon, listen, why don't you take a minute or so here as we just finish up and tell everybody about your book, what's happening with it, if they can get it yet or when they can get it.
Yep.
Tell them we were putting up there Vibrant You Academy, how they can contact you, and go.
Great. So book Shadow Summit, and it's on right now. It is on Amazon, but I'm going to republish it as an audiobook. And right now the words are locked in the page, and so an audiobook is a lot. It's like I've liberated the words. So if you sign up on Vibrant You Academy and become a member of my community, I'll get you a mailer about when the book comes out. Yeah.
And so what's the best way for people to get a hold of you, Jon?
The best way is you can get hold of me on LinkedIn. That's how you and I connected. It's awesome. And also on Facebook. So Jon Chandonnet and in either spot.
I love it. Jon, I love your spirit. Not only because I know what you've gone through in your life, not because I've had MS, but I've worked with it and understand it. And most people have no clue what you're going through. And to know what you've done with your life is amazing. And we didn't hardly get into anything about it, but they can meet you and go through it with you then. But just know, guys, that this man has gone through a lot, and he's overcome a lot, and he's sharing with you how you not only do it from the inside out, but the outside in.
Arnie, thank you so much. Your love and support are so appreciated, man. They really are. It's heartfelt.
Thank you, brother. And we're going to be in touch because we talked about a mental health summit as well. I would love to get you involved in something like that because, like I said, your empathy and understanding of other people and other human beings is invaluable.
Thank you.
All right, brother. Take care, guys. Thank you, CC.
Awesome.